Hello, everyone, and welcome to Odoo 101, a deep dive into our all-in-one software. My name is David Hudson, and I'm going to be guiding us through this journey today. A little bit about myself. I've been in software sales for about 8 years now. The last one was at Odoo. We are going to, I guess you could see I work in sales. So a quick agenda today, what we have prepared for you. We're going to kick off our call with just a little bit about what Odoo is and differentiating us from some of the other vendors out there. We're going to mention some of our latest data points regarding our growth as a company. And of course, we're going to go through a functional workflow, and we'll open up the floor to Q&A with whatever time we have remaining. So what is Odoo? Odoo is a disruptor in the software space. For my fellow techies, you may know us as ERP, or Enterprise Resource Planning Software. And for the cool kids, you can just look at us as software to manage your entire business. Odoo provides all the software you will ever need to manage your business, from sales and CRM for my fellow sales folks out there, to website and e-commerce for all of my digital entrepreneurs, to inventory, purchasing, accounting, project, field service, many, many more that we unfortunately just won't have time to go through today, but it's an incredible value. A quick illustration. This is what I would say the typical client looks like that approaches Odoo. They have a really big tech stack with a ton of different vendors, paying for a ton of manual integrations. And when something goes wrong, they don't even know who to call, right? You have one vendor blaming another vendor for their problems. And this is what it looks like after Odoo. An all-in-one solution. Support is also included. You'll also get an account manager, hopefully me. And this is a less cluttered version of the screen. You'll see a better version during the actual workflow, but this is roughly what it will look like when you log into Odoo with a gaggle of some of the vendors that we typically replace. Let's jump into the numbers. So let's talk numbers. I'm a big fan of hard data. Odoo is not just a company, as I previously said. It's a thriving community composed of customers, partners, developers, and employees. These numbers reflect the incredible growth, the vast territory we cover, and the expansive community of users and partners that we have cultivated over the last 22 years in business. And just to be fully transparent with you guys, because I get this question all the time, what does Odoo cost? These are actually our highest possible retail prices, totally available on our website. We are super transparent. However, you will notice that these are pretty low commitment contracts, right? You see monthly. We actually have a whole host of other contract options because if you are familiar with ERP, you know that the average client sticks around for 5+ years. And this means we have a ton of options available. Email me at daehu@odoo.com if you'd like to explore some of those longer term contract options, or any option. Please send me some leads. As far as an agenda for the workflow today, we're going to be going through some high-level stuff around how the applications talk to each other, how you're going to organize your contacts, your vendors, your customers, how you're going to manage your products, and then ultimately a simple workflow of procuring your first inventory, managing that inventory, selling it, and then accounting for all those transactions on the back end. And if you guys don't have any questions or concerns with that agenda, going once, going twice, we are going to jump right in. So this is the browser or cloud version of Odoo software. This is the kind that I use every day. Now you could see we only have maybe, I don't know, what is that? Maybe a dozen applications downloaded for this narrow demo environment that I've created for you guys today. Please keep in mind that there are over 80 applications that are included in your subscription. These are just the ones that we're going to show off today in our overview. Now, like I said, I usually like to start off with some preliminary information, just to address any potential, basically like FAQs that I get all the time at the end of demos. So usually I show our settings first, just so that way you can see user permissions. So within our user permissions, you'll see we have one user here. It's very easy to manage accessibility, right? You don't want your warehouse guy going through your accounting, and you don't want maybe your accountant going through your inventory management, and vice versa. It's very easy to edit your permissions here. Let's say you want your sales guy not to have administrator access and see everybody's leads, but perhaps only their own documents. can jump back to the main menu at any point here. The next thing I usually like to show clients is our contacts application. Now, this is going to be where you manage everyone you do business with. This can be partners, this can be customers, vendors, they're all here. And because of Odoo's flexibility and because we're so used to dealing with clients, coming from other solutions, basically every screen you see within Odoo, there's going to be this nice little action button that's going to allow you to import records, making it really easy to get your, existing contact list into Odoo. Now, let's jump into one of these contacts. So Gemini Furniture looks pretty good. So the benefits of an all-in-one solution, right? If we look at this contact right away, we're going to see a richness, a wealth of information at the top with what we call smart buttons. These smart buttons are going to include, let's say, any existing CRM opportunities, any existing sales in our sales history, purchases if they're a vendor, and you'll see a whole bunch of other data. As I download and continue to adopt more Odoo software at no extra cost, more smart buttons will start to develop. Let's say if they filed help desk or service level tickets, things like that will continue to populate as we adopt more software. But what's cool is I could actually jump into any of these at any point. This is not static data. This is live information that's constantly feeding from those other applications. So if I want to look at the sales that we've made to Gemini Furniture, I could do so here. And these are all live records with pending activities, statuses here. So that way you can see, what's going on with this particular contact and all of their sales. I'm going to use this nice little breadcrumbs feature to jump back and forth, you'll see. But anyways, just some high level stuff with the contacts. Also, if it's important to you guys, you can also have payment terms. We can create price lists. So that way this particular vendor has, or customer has paid specific prices, specific lead times. All that stuff can be configured on the back end. The last thing I want to show you in terms of preliminary product information is just how products are made on the back end. So you could see same thing, just like on the other screens. We can import your product list. You don't have to build all of these by hand. You could also run very robust reporting here. We can add some custom filters and save those reports later. But for today, let's just jump into this demo product called Acoustic Block Screens. If we look at our acoustic block screens, you'll see a sales price, which I can edit on the fly. You could see some default taxes. You could see our inventory valuation, how we want to track the value of this. Or if you want to get really in the weeds with the inventory valuation, we could actually jump into this product category field here. Figure out our inventory valuation method, assign a removal strategy if you want to automatically pull specific inventory for, let's say, deliveries to customers, as well as the accounting properties. Which journals do you want to be hit when you are buying or selling this particular product? Now, once again, we're going to use our nice little breadcrumbs feature up top to jump back a page. We are going to be keeping track of this product. It is a physical product, so we're going to keep it storable. From a purchasing perspective, this is where I can add my vendors and expected lead time. So that way we'll be able to track on the back end when we're purchasing this, if those orders are showing up when our vendor promised them. From an inventory perspective, we can assign a customer lead time so our customers know and are informed of how long they're going to be waiting to receive their items. Also, you can see we have some tracking here if you guys, if any of your businesses are managing lots or serial numbers. And up top, once again, some great smart buttons that are going to show me all the records that this particular object in our database is touching. So how many do we have physically in our warehouses? How many are forecasted? Now, I actually want to jump into the smart button. I'm going to click on it. And I'm actually going to show you all of the estimated forecasts for this particular product based on the comings and goings in our warehouse, as well as prospective comings and goings. And what I mean by that is you could see all of these deliveries associated with sales orders here. So Odoo, every time you make a sale, and you'll see this during our workflow, it's going to automatically reserve that inventory. And similarly, you could see some purchase orders that are linked here. Odoo is also accounting for the prospective purchases that are coming, and therefore providing us with a net. So the forecast is -11, which means that it looks like it's going to be time to procure some of this inventory before we try and sell it, just to make sure our customers stay happy. So let's go through a purchasing workflow. I'm going to navigate to the top left here to jump to my home screen. let's jump in the purchase app and buy some of these acoustic block screens. I'm going to click new to generate a new PO. Now I can just start typing a vendor if I already know who I'm going to buy it from. And once again, if the product exists, I can start searching it, or even if it didn't exist, I could build one on the fly right now. Today, fortunately, I did the work and the product already exists. And it's pulling the default price we had set up on that product purchase tab. However, Odoo is not rigid. Odoo is super flexible. You could do all of this on the fly. I could change the unit price. Let's say I called the vendor and he told me that if I buy 20, that he will give me a price of 200. All of this stuff is totally flexible. We could even get rid of the taxes. And you'll see, because today is the 23rd and I had the delivery lead time for my purchases to 0 days, the expected arrival is automatically computing as same day. We can change this if we want to create a more realistic timeline for our poor warehouse manager who's supposed to adhere to these deadlines. So we'll say it's supposed to come tomorrow. And if we wanted to send this by email and have a back and forth, we could, or for the sake of time, we could say we've already negotiated this with the vendor and we know we are good to go. So we can confirm this purchase order now. Immediately, the purchase order number is going to generate based on the sequence. So presumably in this demo database, I've made 12 purchase orders already. This is going to be number 13. And what's really cool is audit trail. So on the right-hand side, you're going to see which user license. In this case, I'm logged in as a user named Mitchell Admin. Mitchell Admin with this timestamp is the one who confirmed this purchase order, which means if, let's say, an accountant or CEO or anyone wanted to come in and see who made this particular purchase, who authorized this transaction of funds, that audit trail will be there forever attached to this PO. Also, what I want to draw your attention to, once again, is this beautiful smart button that was automatically created by Odoo. Now, I have one step reception turned on. We can add as many steps as we want if you have a multi-step reception process. But for today, to keep things simple, I'm just going to show you how automatically our purchasing software is interacting with our inventory software. So I could jump right into that through the smart button. I'm going to click on receipt. Right away, you're going to see where the item came from and how much was demanded. Now, it'll be the task of the inventory manager to actually go and count if all 20 are there. We're going to say, yes, it was a perfect 20, and then validate this reception in our warehouse. So I'm going to click validate. Once again, audit trail of who validated that we received 20 in case there's a discrepancy later. You can approach Mitchell and say, hey, why are there only 19? You said we received 20. And what I want to show you is if we jump back to the home screen and jump into our inventory management software now, I can go into my moves history and actually see all the movements in my warehouse. Any receipts, any deliveries, any transfers will all show up here with timestamps. And you could see today at 2:14 p.m. Pacific time, we received 20 acoustic block screens. And if I go to my live stock report with all my products, I can search the product. And there it is. We had 16 on hand, and then we just purchased 20 to bring us to 36. Now that we have inventory on hand and ready to sell, we can start generating quotes for our clients. So let's do that. I'm going to put on my sales hat on, and I'm going to generate a quote for a client. Let's say a client is interested in buying 5 acoustic block screens. I'm going to click new here. I can generate a new customer record on the fly, or I can search one that already exists. So we're going to sell to Deco Addict. I can pull up any product I want. Going to pull up those acoustic block screens again. Right away, you'll see it is showing the unit price we had set up on the product configuration page. Now, this client said he wanted 5 acoustic block screens. And let's say I gave him a call. Let's log that here. And he actually gave me an update. He said that if we can bring our price down to $250, that he would buy 10. So we'll log that here. Client said he will buy 10 if we charge $250 per. I can assign a date for that. It was today I had the conversation, and we're going to mark it as done. Once again, audit trail of all the activities related to this particular quotation. We can edit this to 10 at $250. And we could send this on over to the client. So let's send an email. We have a native plugin with both Gmail and Outlook, but we're going to click send by email. And now it's automatically going to pull up one of Odoo's email templates. You can see here we have a template. I can edit this at any time, but this is what it'll look like out of the box. We can add text to this, add attachments if we'd like. It's automatically going to pull the email address associated with this particular contact record. And we're going to go ahead and send this over. And you'll notice right away, once again, Odoo is tracking all of the activities associated with that record with timestamps. Now, what's great is that included in your user license with Odoo is unlimited customer portals. And what I mean by that is anytime you send a quote or have projects you're managing on behalf of your clients, they will have their own portals whereby they'll be able to see those quotations, see outstanding invoices or bills, see the status of their projects, and therefore not have to bother you about those records, not have to contact you asking about, where's that quote that you sent me a year ago? And I can access that myself through this preview button. So I'm going to duplicate this tab. That way we don't lose our progress. And we're just going to click preview here. And right away, you'll see what the customer portal for that particular client looks like. From within this customer portal, they can communicate with me and say, quote looks great or terrible, add attachments. And if you have a payment provider set up, they can also sign and pay directly from this particular quote. Draw a nice little signature. Give it a second to save that digital signature. Awesome. And you can see in this demo database, I don't have a payment provider set up. And so we'll worry about the payment later. For now, all we want is that client signature so we can get started on that delivery. So if I refresh this sales order page on the back end after the client signed, you'll see right away the note that I left on the portal, and you'll see the attached sales order. Give it a second. Building suspense. Boom. Now that we have this signed quote with this nice quotation template attached, so that way our clients can get beautiful quotes, I have documented record that this client is willing to pay for 10 units at $250. I can get started. So let's confirm this sales order. Once again, what do you see up top? A nice little smart button was automatically generated because of the interconnected nature of the Odoo application suite. This means that I can jump into this delivery task as the warehouse manager. I can see how many we're supposed to deliver to this particular client. I can jump into that client at any time if I want to look at their address. And I can count up 10 from our warehouse, load them up on the truck, show up to the client's door, validate that I delivered 10. Automatically, Odoo is going to ask me if I want to send an SMS. Why not? Here we are with the audit trail once again, who marked that these items were delivered. And if we jump back into that sales order, automatically the delivered amount is updated. And if I go into our warehouse again, and I go into our moves history, you're going to notice a new audit trail, right? Before we received 20 during our purchase. Now we've lost 10 due to a delivery. And if I go into my stock report for that particular product, you'll notice we went from 36 on hand to 26 on hand. Once again, showing the power of having an automated solution, not having to jump back and forth between your current sales application into your current warehouse application and hoping those items exist there, or manually importing back and forth. All of that stuff is automatically going to log for you, reducing human error and having accountability ultimately. So now that we've purchased and delivered, the only thing we really need to do is, from an accounting perspective, we need to generate a bill for our purchase and we need to generate an invoice for our sale. So let's do that right now. So we have a nice little PO here. Let's create a bill. If you're not an accountant, you can tune me out right now. I know it's not super interesting to everybody. We'll set a bill date for today. Confirm it. And similarly, if we go into our sale now, let's go into our sales order, create an invoice. We'll just do a regular invoice. Odoo is very flexible though in terms of allowing you to set up custom payment terms and taking incremental payments. But today we'll just create a regular invoice for the full amount and confirm it. Now, how does Odoo accounting know what's going on? That's great that sales, purchasing, and inventory talk to each other, but what about accounting? Glad you asked. Let's jump in. So if we jump into our accounting application, right away, you're going to see that we have notifications beckoning us, asking for our attention, right? We have an unpaid invoice for $2,500. I just made that. We have a bill to pay for $4,000. Once again, just created that. I can access those by clicking directly on the link where it's going to show me all of my unpaid posted invoices here. Or if you guys want something a little bit more robust than, what you're seeing right now, if I go into my balance sheet, which by the way has awesome filters if you want to compare over periods or look at just specific journals. But if I jump into my payables, there's your purchase order. There's your bill attached to your purchase order. And let's use the nice breadcrumbs again. Let's jump into our receivables. Looks good. And there's our invoice with the attached sales order. The only thing left to do is for the client to pay or for you to pay your bill, and then reconcile the payments once you've linked your bank account. We are a fully GAAP compliant accounting solution. That was, I showed you a brief glimpse of our balance sheet. We also have P&L statements, cash flow statements, executive summaries, compiling all of our GAAP compliant reports. And of course, we have a dashboards application, which is going to give you a high level overview of KPIs on all of those core applications we have downloaded. So sales reporting with beautiful filters by product and team. We have accounting benchmarks. We have, if we had CRM opportunities, purchasing KPIs, and all of these reports are not static information. They are constantly being updated with new sales orders that are being created. And we can also, customize these during implementation if you do decide to move forward with Odoo. So that is going to be the workflow that I had prepared for you guys today. If there are any questions, we're going to open it up now for a Q&A session. And I will be taking questions. I believe there is a little bit of a delay, so I'll start with some frequently asked questions until I receive, some of you guys' live questions. So the first FAQ that I receive is going to be, how does pricing work? If I want 3 apps versus 4 versus 5. I love that question because it's one more example of the amazing value that Odoo has to offer. We do not charge on an a la carte model. All of the applications are going to be included in your subscription license. Okay, looks like we have some questions coming in. Are you able to show how you set up subscription services in the ERP? I am able to do that. If you send me an email at dahu@odoo.com, that's dahu@odoo.com, I will be happy to schedule a demo with you whereby we can walk through setting up subscription services. We have some compliments. Thank you so much, Mr. Halil. Looks like those are the only questions we've gotten so far, so we're going to jump back into more FAQs. Another one I get a lot is we get a lot of clients who've come from other ERP vendors and they want to ask about renewal prices because maybe their 3-year contract just expired with another vendor and they want to double the rates. So that's why they're looking at some alternatives. One more reason I love Odoo is actually our renewals are capped at 7%. So if you sign any multi-year agreement, you will not be charged more than 7% over the previous price paid. Any other questions? Looks like we haven't received any yet. I'll leave the floor open for, let's say, another minute or two before we wrap up. Fun facts about Odoo, I guess, in the meantime. We are 22 years old. I sit in our San Francisco office. We do have 2 offices in the States, another in Buffalo, New York. We also have offices in Mexico. We have offices all over the world, over 18, over 4,000 employees. Anything else? No other questions? Okay, here we go. Thank you guys for being for participating. Does Odoo work for a funeral home management? Yeah, presumably. We are industry agnostic, which is another fun fact about Odoo. With over 12 million users, we are not designed for any one specific industry. Because of the flexibility of our software, it can be implemented for, I myself have implemented at over 30 different clients, and maybe 2 of them shared the same industry. So yes, presumably we can work for your business, but I would need to talk to you more. So email me, dehu@odoo.com. Hi, I want to ask if we have a lot of payment from Visa from different bank accounts and we want to reconcile all, how to separate for journal. Yeah, so this is an implementation question. I can try to help you a little bit right now. So the reconciliation process is pretty straightforward. The invoices and bills that are outstanding within your Odoo accounting are automatically going to be smart matched with any debits and credits to your connected bank accounts, which should make payment reconciliation as simple as one click or smart matching. Let me make sure I read that question correctly. And how to separate for journals. Yeah, so another implementation question. I'm not sure, it sounds like you're an active customer, but I can't be certain. If you are, I highly recommend undergoing an Odoo implementation. Unlike other ERP vendors, we do all of our implementations directly. That means that if you worked with me, for instance, you would be dealing with an implementation consultant that works here directly at Odoo. And in that case, they would be able to set up all of your journals, your chart of accounts correctly upon initial setup. So that way you wouldn't encounter these issues down the line. But yes, you can create as many payment journals as you want. And if you wanted to make sure that those journals are matching, then you would just have to set those up under the configuration for whatever products you are buying and selling. You could also check out our documentation on analytic accounting. I think that would help you quite a bit. But once again, dehu@odoo.com if you want follow-up to that. I'd be happy to dive deeper on that question. Thank you. Looks like we haven't received anything else since then. I think we're going to wrap things up then if there aren't any more questions. Thank you so much for investing the time to participate in this webinar. Thank you for the questions. Okay, fine. We do have another question, actually. I'm excited. It says, do you support multi-currency and intercompany transactions? Are there limits to the number of transactions per month? Yes. So we are an international company. We're actually headquartered in Belgium, actually. And yes, so we do support multi-currency as well as multi-company environments. And going back to Odoo not being an a la carte pricing model, included in your user license is multi-company environment. And what I mean by that is that you could set up multiple different companies, each with their own sales, inventory, accounting procedures, and they could be completely separate, or you could map relationships between them as well in the database. Another great implementation question, and I'd be happy to follow up with you further at dehu@odoo.com. Can Odoo be used to manage a hotel? Yes. So I do have clients who use Odoo for property management. Depending on the use case would determine exactly which applications you're going to utilize and implement. It might be a combination of, let's say, sales, rentals, and subscriptions. But I would love to talk to you further about that. If you want to email me, dehu@odoo.com. Okay. And if that's going to do it, then thank you again so much for all of your great questions. Thank you for participating, and thank you for hearing what Odoo is all about. Have a great day.